As soon as the majority of straight women stop being attracted to the strongest and most ambitious males, I'll stop being one.
And that's not your strong suit, big guy.
Hello friends, and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise swearsies. It's just a fact, it's totally science. Go ahead, look it up. Thanks so much. I've decided to melt my brain just a little bit more today with that Onision book. The intrepid book known as This Is Why I Hate You. Probably the most accurate title of any book that we've read on the channel thus far, although we haven't read that many books yet. I think this is a turning point for the channel. People seem to really be enjoying it, so let's go ahead and jump into chapter 3 right now. Let's get it started.
Chapter 3, Crying at My Feet.
Oh, he's gonna beat up the big jock guy today. It's totally gonna happen, guys. Really for real.
The last entry I made reflected on probably one of the dumbest things I was about to do. Obviously, getting yourself into a physical fight is a mistake when you look at the grand scheme of things. But to say I really had a fair choice in the matter is a joke.
That's right. Remember, everybody, free will doesn't exist at all, okay? I had no choice. I had to do it. But also, I'm super different from everybody and in control of myself. It's like, you can't go more than a single chapter without completely contradicting yourself. To be completely fair, I contradict myself quite a lot, but at least I do it in separate videos.
The sun hadn't even risen yet. Our decrepit school was filthy and falling apart, as if the walls were composed of maggot-infested flesh and bone.
Wow, that paints a picture. Not a picture that makes any sense, but sure, why not?
As I approached John, I could hear the cracked tiles straining under my weight.
Oh, do you think the author's a big boy? He just hasn't admitted to all that?
He's like, why is my dad so fat?
I don't know, bro. Why are you so fat?
It's genetic.
It was immediately after first period had ended when we crossed paths.
And the sun hadn't even risen yet? What fucking... Are you living in Alaska or something?
Only my path ended upon locating him. I skipped class so I would not miss him walking to his next class. I specifically chose the section of the school where he had physically touched my girlfriend before. I said, John, are you ready to hurt? John no doubt felt somewhat uncomfortable seeing those words come from the lips of someone who looked like me.
Yeah, not because you're big or imposing, because you might have a gun.
I intentionally wore a trench coat and all black that day.
See? It's just a little boy who read about Columbine one time and he's like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. It's not.
Normally, I didn't wear the coat, but I wanted to make myself appear much larger than I was. This was a strategy I learned from butterflies.
Yes, the most terrifying creature in the animal kingdom, butterflies. Beware, John.
Creatures whose literal core design exists to scare away predators.
Something tells me, author, that you'd be a lot more comfortable inside the chrysalis. You shouldn't be out. You're just embarrassing yourself.
It seemed fitting. This man-child clearly liked taking advantage of creatures smaller than him.
The rich irony of Gregory Onion Boy author calling anyone a man-child is just, mwah. Chef's kiss.
John tried to act like everything was key, as one of his jock friends was standing right by him. After taking a brief look into their eyes, it was obvious that both of them thought their lives could be in danger. This possibility was especially apparent considering all the things I might have been hiding under my long, black, tattered coat.
Yeah, did it rustle in the wind just so before you drew your katana and teleported behind him?
Nothing personnel, kid.
John swore at me, calling me the popular emasculating word goth kids are normally subjected to.
He doesn't even dare to write it. How adorable, as edgy as he is.
Fortunately, I punched him in his throat seconds after he spoke it.
Oh yeah, just teleported up to him and yum!
Now I realize punching someone directly in the throat can do extensive damage to a person's neck. Neck damage carries the possibility of preventing further breathing. However, a punch to the head or even between the legs can kill a man. The truth about our bodies is sad, but it's still reality. We humans are sensitive creatures.
We humans are an anomaly. Some people could die from, like, hitting their head on the table the wrong way. But then there's people whose parachute doesn't open and they fall thousands of feet and still live.
Oh, there they are. Look at these gorgeous sons of bitch.
I don't know. I guess John is the weak, fragile Eggman that bumps his head on the table and dies. And Arthur here is the strong, invincible plot armor guy with his super cool trench coat.
The blow I delivered to his throat shocked John's jock friend. He looked like he wanted to help John, but I screamed threatening to murder him, and he backed off. I think I specifically said, "I'll stab you in the jugular and watch you bleed, meathead." It was a mouthful, but John was busy gasping for air, so I had time.
Yeah, nothing but time. No counterattack or anything. That's probably the most unbelievable part of this story. In high school, if I saw my buddy get punched in the throat, I'd be like, okay, I guess I gotta kick you in the chest now. But no, yeah, great. Fantasy is super fun. It's fun to imagine.
After John fell to the ground, I stood back confidently, waiting for him to return to his feet. Students heard the smack of my fist against his neck and my screaming from hundreds of feet away. Like wasps, they swarmed around us. We love a good fight, don't we?
Hell yeah, a good fictional fight where apparently your fist makes a sonic boom against somebody's neck.
When John returned to his feet, I let him hit me a few times.
Yeah, just let it happen.
I knew there was a good chance I'd be expelled if I didn't make the fight look at least somewhat even. Once I was bored of my face being tenderized like the meat of a freshly slaughtered animal, I decided to break his arm.
Yeah, he's still just in complete control of this situation, even while getting punched in the face. How is he possibly so calm and cool and collected, you guys? Wow, he's such an awesome dude and not a sociopath degenerate in any way. Don't you want to be just like him? If you do, please get off my channel.
I didn't exactly break his arm in the way you'd expect. First, I placed my right leg behind his legs while simultaneously dodging a punch he just thrown.
Yeah, I teleported out of the way. It's like some Dragon Ball Z shit, man.
I then wrapped my right arm around his already tender neck and applied pressure to send his body flailing backwards towards the ground.
I mean, I guess I can imagine how it all happens, but fight scenes in books are always really convoluted and weird.
Now as John fell free, I had to make sure to twist his neck so he'd land on his stomach. This was absolutely essential for snapping his arm in two.
Again, still completely in control of this situation. I've done this 100 times before, okay?
I successfully placed him quite gracefully on the ground without a significant impact. I then placed my boot on the back of his head and screamed, "Are you a righty?"
Are you a righty? Has about the same energy as saying whoopsie. It doesn't sound as cool as you think it sounds.
John refused to answer and just struggled under my boot, so I went ahead and assumed that he was right-handed.
Oh, I thought you were talking about his political affiliation. No, I'm a registered Democrat, please!
Snap. Immediately after I grabbed his right hand, lifted it up, his arm following.
Oh, hands and arms are attached, I forgot.
And I used my right leg to stomp on his elbow as hard as I could.
Cool, yeah, edgy. Totally buying that.
I imagine this was incredibly painful. Consider my right foot was still on his neck, which of course meant the full weight of my body was on one of the most vulnerable body parts. Yes, my body and his body together, intertwined.
Did John let this happen? Have we addressed like any martial skill that the author might have? We haven't. He's a goth bedroom loser, and this is all part of his extremely intricate fantasy.
The snap of his arm was rather loud, surprisingly so. I might have just felt arousal from how tremendous it was.
Gay. Like I said,
my body on top of his, I caught a bit of a chub.
See, that's the most exciting part of all this for you, isn't it? You're not really into Ashley. You're just jealous that John touched her instead of you. There we go. We're unpacking all of this now. I see what's actually going on here.
Something you don't know about me is that my mom didn't just teach me philosophical lessons. She didn't just teach me how to defend myself, but also how to destroy my enemies.
Yeah, your mom is a Mary Sue, and author is a Gary Stew.
My mother no doubt didn't want me to use the techniques she taught me without absolute necessity, but my mother's a better person than I am.
Yeah, everybody's always the best type of person when they're dead, you know? I got nothing but good things to say about her, for reals. Unfortunately, she did give birth to one of the most narcissistic and insecure man-children the world has ever seen. At least one of the only ones to reach 30. But still, yeah, totally. Bless her heart.
Nothing gave me more satisfaction than watching John cry on the ground while grabbing the now inverted arm he used to touch my girlfriend.
How have other jocks not jumped in and started to pummel this dude? Like, I understand maybe. You punched him in the neck, okay, let's let him fight it out. But you broke his arm, it's like, okay, well, now the gloves are off. We gotta make sure you ain't walking away from this one. And then they're just beating the crap out of him. He's like,
hey, this is all part of the plan. I have to look beat up too.
Swear to God, this is the dumbest power fantasy I've ever read.
The other jock stared at me in horror. He couldn't even look at his friend on the ground. It seems he was paralyzed as he looked into my eyes, accompanied with a grin, soaked in my own blood on my face. Oh my God, how could you do this? Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. I spoke to the jock. Congrats, coward. You didn't get stabbed. And then I spit some of the blood conjured up by the beating I received on the brightly colored Letterman jacket.
Wow, author, you must be so tough and cool to just intimidate somebody with your awesome words. This is, God, I'm hurt. I am deeply hurt.
After only a few moments into John letting out blood-curdling screams, the skew principal erupted in angry. I am in angry! Screaming for the crowd to disperse.
Erupted in angry.
Principal Lehman took a look at my face, and then a look at John, grabbing his arm on the ground. I smiled at the principal and said, "Heh, sorry about the mess."
Oh yeah, dude. We gotta end it with a cool one-liner. I'm having a hard time right now.
Sorry about the mess, but don't worry. It's all my blood. Looking completely freaked out, the principal responded by screaming for me to go to the nurse's office and wait for him there.
What do you want? Betty bursts into the nurse's office and says his same cool line again.
Sorry about the blood, nurse. It's all mine.
Yeah, I know, stupid. Sit down, take an Advil, have an ice pack. This is all I can do for you. The mental problems, I mean, that's your parents' problem, and then in another year or two, society's problem.
After an hour or two of waiting in a room in the nurse's office, 2 police officers came into the room and asked me questions about what had happened. They said that because of the extent of John's injuries, that they were heavily considering taking me to juvenile hall.
I mean, quite literally, they probably would. There was a witness that saw that this was a completely unprovoked attack. He touched my girlfriend one time is not a defense that's gonna hold up in court. You're doing some time. Except that this is a completely fictional book, so I guess not.
I then opened up my mouth in a way that likely appeared to be a grin to the officers.
Oh yeah? You're so cool and deranged. Did you have a line? You had a couple hours to think of one. Oh, you didn't even think of one. I'm disappointed.
They seemed upset about this, but their premature emotions were corrected when I pointed to a missing tooth in my mouth.
Yeah, missing tooth, broken arm, that's basically equivalent, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
And actually, it was the tooth that author chose to release from his mouth because he's so in control of everything.
The loss of my tooth, in addition to the cuts and bruises on my face, were enough to convince them that the damages were mutual, especially considering it only took 2 strikes for me to defeat John, while he had struck me around 7 times.
Yeah, I always keep count of the amount of times I get punched in a fight.
The officers understood that if I refused to do anything, John would continue hitting me. And by definition, despite me starting the fight, the action of breaking his arm was self-defense.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not true either. Please keep in mind, Onion Boy is not a lawyer. He does not have the mental faculties to understand the law.
I made it clear to the police that I was losing my grip on him, and had I not done what I'd done, he would surely do my face even more damage than he already had. This argument was one of the most important aspects of justifying self-defense.
Truly, you missed your calling, author. One of the most brilliant legal minds of our generation. Look, officer, if I didn't shoot that guy, he was gonna get his blood on me. I think that counts as self-defense. Not a jury in the land will convict me.
But let's get past the legal aspect of what I did and get right down to my raw intentions.
Yep, been established, still don't care.
Everything I did, everything I allowed to happen, was simply me manipulating my way to getting away with destroying John.
Whoa, it was so premeditated. What a master plan.
I'm gonna allow me to hit him 7 times, and then I'll take him down to the floor and put him on his stomach and break its arm.
Wow, your plan really went off without a hitch. What are the odds?
John can't play football this year. John's right hand won't be touching my girlfriend anymore, and John is suspended from ski. Unfortunately, I'm suspended twice as long as he is, thanks to the principal clearly seeing through what I did. I'm sure me smiling at him didn't help.
Oh, come on, what kind of mastermind are you? You gotta keep your emotions in check.
On top of everything else, Ashley hasn't spoken to me since. It would be ridiculous if by beating up the guy who touched her, I lose her, but I suppose I didn't just beat him up. My performance was devastating. Maybe I went too far. Who am I kidding? I knew I went too far.
Yeah, but we can't possibly apologize for any of it because this is my power fantasy, damn it!
If Ashley rejects me for this,
F-O-R-E, for.
It won't be crushing. There are many women where she came from. There are many more of all of us.
Yeah, that's right. More me's, more you's. What the hell's that supposed to mean?
What a stark reminder that there really is no value in our individual lives.
Pretty sure that's another nice bit of projection, isn't it? I've sat here and explained to you, author, why I feel my life has value. You don't even want to start to try and explain yourself because it's a scary question and probably you can't come up with anything. Have you added any value to the world?
No, but I broke this kid's arm one time.
Okay, cool. Is everybody supposed to be sitting around clapping for this character? Is he like an anti-hero? Are we legitimately supposed to hate him? Why would the Onion Kid want everybody to hate his self-insert? It doesn't make much sense to me. Unless you count for the part of the equation where he's just a terrible author and legitimately cannot write a book.
Chapter 4!
Yeah, we're gonna do 2 chapters today. Why not? That one was a little short, wasn't it?
Prayer for the poor.
I mean, prayer's nice if that's what you can afford to do. Food would be better. That's what I like to do. And then they get disappointed that it isn't money. Like, cool, I'll never give you anything again.
It's been a week since I went to ski. Fortunately for me, my girlfriend has visited me at home a few times since. Ashley and I made out a number of times.
Wait, I thought you guys weren't talking. What?
If anything, what I did to John brought us closer together in the long run.
Okay. So I guess OP being broken up with over the fight is a plot thread that has gone out the window now. Are you taking notes here, everybody?
A lot of people wonder why girls like jerks. Why are a lot of women into guys with attitude problems over the friend zone nice boys?
Oh God, you're one of those people who believes this shit. I don't think it has anything to do with being a jerk. I think it has to do with confidence. That's the reason that chill, nice, confident dudes get to slay some of the baddest baddies in the world. Look at Pete Davidson, huh? He's not particularly good looking or talented or funny, but he just rocks it, you know what I mean? That's the reason that Onision will always be left with like the dregs of society. People that are self-loathing enough to actually date him. Eventually they probably do learn some hard lessons and find their confidence. And that's about the point where they start getting the hell away from him. Anyway,
if you appreciate reality over fantasy, it takes one look at the animal kingdom to figure out why girls often choose to be with guys who are insensitive and domineering.
Yep, just watched one too many episodes of Animal Planet and he's like, oh my God, I have it all figured out. Why is nobody talking about this? Because it's not real. Human interaction is much more intricate than meerkats. But I do like Meerkat Manor, though. That was a good show.
In nature, the lion that fights the hardest, the alpha male, he's the one the lionesses mate with. The most aggressive and dominant animal is the one who spreads his genetics, not the submissive, nice, alternative males.
Which is really not even true in nature. Sometimes the nice, submissive, alternative males will lure a female away from the pack, pride, whatever, so they can mate in private. And at that point, the alpha male has to raise that child that he doesn't realize isn't his. Or if he does realize it's not his, he's probably just gonna eat it, but you know, different strokes.
Sometimes comparing ourselves to other animals can be ridiculous, as some connections are thin or entirely irrelevant.
I like how you acknowledge why it's stupid and then continue on anyways.
However, this is a case of what we are deep down. Who I am comes from the core of my being. I am an alpha, and I will be until the day I die.
I think the truest of all alphas don't even know what an alpha is. If you're spending all day on the internet talking about alphas and betas, you're probably not as alpha as you think you are.
I say it every day. We're products of our configurations.
Here we go again.
We're controlled by how we're raised, our other childhood experiences, chemicals in our brains, and our bodies themselves. That's right, I'm not responsible for any of my actions. As soon as the majority of straight women stop being attracted to the strongest and most ambitious males, I'll stop being one.
And that's not your strong suit, big guy.
Are you one? Outside of this power fantasy book? I don't see it. You're a weak little human. You don't even know what will make you happy in life, so you just run around and stomp your feet, and you're like,
why is nobody acknowledging my alphaness? Until alpha males are obsolete, my body has needs, and being angry at the world doesn't hurt my position.
Yes, it does. Catch more flies with honey is not just a thing that idiots say. But I guess the rules in this cinematic book universe might be different from the real world. I don't really know.
Now, since the day I was suspended from ski, my father's had quite a few things to say. You probably guessed it. One of those things was that he's praying for me. You know what changes things? Changing them. It sounds stupid, but prayer does not equate to changing anything outside satisfying your need to feel like you accomplished something.
Surprisingly, this is one of the points that, okay, I'll give it to you. I agree. You can pray for the motivation or the resources to take action, but until you take action, i.e. delivering poor people actual food that they can eat, you really haven't done a goddamn thing. However, as a follow-up to that, I'd like to ask you, author, what have you actually changed about the world? About yourself. Let's just start there. Nothing. You sit there in your little room comfortable and judging others. Pathetic.
Prayer is often just a poor man's version of donating money to a cause. When you're incapable of something or too lazy to do anything proactive about a problem, get on your knees and make a wish. That satisfies people for some reason. Everyone but those living their lives realistically.
Do you think praying is just wishing for things? Because I'm pretty sure there's a reason that wish and prayer are two different words. Like I said, if you don't have the resources to feed the poor, then you pray for the resources. If you don't have the motivation to utilize those resources, then you pray for it. I can promise you it will open doors down the road, but since it won't deliver what the person is asking for right this instant, it's not even worth bothering with. It's a very selfish outlook, but coming from Onion Boy, I shouldn't be all that surprised.
Other than praying for me, my father's been out of the house with his girlfriend a lot. This left me plenty of room to gratify myself almost constantly using the sites he hadn't blocked on his computer.
Ew. Weird flex, but okay.
It's easy to get around the parent blocking. All I had to do is go to the least popular sites I could find, and bam! No filter.
Is this the story of how you became a foot freak?
Footfreaks.com, it's unblocked. I'm gonna sit here for the next 8 hours and hope that it doesn't change my brain chemistry at all. My father, always abandoning me for his girlfriend, also offered the always welcome gift of being able to generally leave my room without worrying about being judged or lectured.
So this is something that you're happy about?
Now I can jerk my dick off all over the house.
Yeah, great, okay.
Yeah.
That's the pinnacle for you, is it?
Ashley told me the other day that John had to get surgery on the arm I broke. As a joke, I told my dad to pray for his arm to have a quick recovery, and he smiled, thinking I, for a moment, was actually supportive of his faith.
Yeah, awesome joke, bro. You really pulled one over on him, didn't you? What a little douchebag. If Creator Boxing comes back, can I box Onision? I mean, he's probably got 100,000 creators that are bigger than me that want to box him, but let me do it. We'll call it Navy Nobodies versus Air Force Assholes. Come on, iDubbbz, put me on the ticket. This event might actually be profitable. Just firebombing everybody. All right, let's wrap this turd up.
The real reason I asked my father to pray is because I know little to nothing he prays for comes true. If there is a God, he, she, or it is making it a point to ignore him.
I mean, you could ask for whatever you want, but yeah, it's delivered on God's time, and I think that's okay. You just want your instant gratification right now because you're a little baby boy that doesn't understand patience or building things. All you do is tear things down, and now your life is in shambles, and you're like, how could this happen? It's called reaping what you sow.
Who knows? I could get lucky, and John could be in for a long recovery. His recovery should offer him plenty of time to think about not touching women without their consent.
Didn't he touch her on the hip? Which I guess is a little bit worse than the shoulder or something like that. But we're throwing around the word grope here like he grabbed a handful of ass. He didn't. This is ridiculous, and you're an insecure man, baby, for letting it drive you to this extent, which never happened, which is just a complete power fantasy. I don't even know why it upsets me.
I know all this makes me sound like a terrible human being, and I no doubt am on multiple levels, but you only know a fraction of the story.
Oh god, there's more?
Even so, much of who I am and what I've been through, I likely will not tell you. Some things are just better off unsaid.
Yeah, we'll leave basically a bunch of things unsaid until they come up in the moment, like my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training. You guys didn't know that I was a master in Krav Maga, did you? Yeah, my mom trained me in it before she died. Well, that's convenient. We also never get to know the name of his father, never get to know the name of the girlfriend. It's fucking weird. For trying to write like a self-obsessed teenager, I mean, he does it pretty well, but that's because he's a self-obsessed 30-something-year-old man who still thinks he's a teenager. This book cringes me the hell out. Maybe even harder than the Roger Manifesto, dude. It's really hard to get through. I was like, let's do 2 chapters. It's gonna be fine. And halfway through the second chapter, I'm like, I'm dying. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, sub. If you did, check out the links in the description. Teespring, Amazon affiliates. Thank you so much to my Patreon and my YouTube members. If you could sign up, throw me some money, hey, I'd be appreciative. If not, that's cool. Don't sweat it. What's most importantly is I want you to remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye. Go ahead and cut them open. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.